Welcome to Impact Sales Live. I'm your host, Joe Beck, founder of The Sales Activist and host of the Impact Sales podcast. Impact Sales Live was created to shine a spotlight on the best practices and tips that will help you stand out from the crowd in regard to sales. Whether you are an entrepreneur, a coach, or a consultant, or a sales professional selling for a company, you're going to get a lot of value from Impact Sales Live. I'm so excited about today. We got a little bit of background music going today, so I am looking forward to jumping right into our topic today, which is how to triple your sales results in 6 months or less. That's right, triple your sales results in 6 months or less. And we're going to show you exactly what you need to do that in today's live. But before we jump in, let me just share my screen so we can get started here. Jump right in. As soon as technology allows me to catch up, here we go. So, as I said, today we're going to talk about how to triple your sales results in 6 months or less, all without spending a single dollar on advertising. That's right, without spending any extra money on marketing or advertising. We're going to talk to you today and show you exactly what you need to do to triple your sales results in 6 months or less. So who is this live event for? Now, I like to think it's for everybody, but who is it really for? Well, it's for coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs, or sales professionals who are out there selling for another company. No matter who you are in any one of those four categories, there's going to be a lot of value shared today in today's live. So stay tuned. So before we jump into that, before we get into the content and exactly what it is that we are going to go over with you today, show you all the steps, figured I should probably tell you a little bit about who I am and what qualifies me to be talking to you about this today. So a little bit of a background or bio on me. For over 34 years, I've pretty much been focused on sales and business development. Started in the corporate world, working with larger companies. I've worked with large regional companies, smaller companies, startups, entrepreneurs of all sizes. I've personally produced almost $400 million in sales transaction volume for the companies that I've worked with and for. And I've led sales teams as large as 200 individual team members. And across my career, I've personally coached, trained, or mentored well over 3,500 sales professionals and entrepreneurs. And the reason why that is so important for today's live is a lot of the things that I've trained those 3,500 plus are going to be covered in today's live event. So let's just jump right in. So when it comes to sales success, the first place you need to start, without question, the first place you need to start is the three elements of success. See, whether you knew this or not, there are three basic key elements to massive success. Now, this is in sales, in business, or in life, right? So the first, and we're going to start there. We're not going to spend a lot of time talking about it, but we're going to highlight it here. The first is your mindset, how you think, how you look at what it is that you're doing, your place in the world, your place in what you're doing professionally, and how you look at sales. Your mindset plays a major role in your success, no matter what it is that you do. And that is certainly the case with sales success. Your mindset needs to be dialed in. You need to have the right sales success mindset. We'll get to that in just a minute. You need to really understand and really, absolutely get the most out of your network, the people that you're associated with. Nobody can do everything on their own. One way or the other people are going to play a role in your success. So understanding the utilization of a network and exactly what that network can do for your success is critical for you to be able to accomplish what you'd like to accomplish in sales. That's the second basic key element that you need to have to generate sales success. And finally, and the one that we're going to spend a little bit more time on today than the other two, are your systems. The systems for your success. Now, your systems are what you do and how you do it. What you specifically do to create success and how you actually do it step by step. Those two things plays a major role in your success. So those three elements of success that's important for everybody to understand and master. Number one, your mindset. Number two, without question, your network and how you work with other people. And number three, the systems that you deploy, what you do and how you do it. And we're going to jump right into what this looks like today. So let's start talking about systems. Let's start talking about those things. But before we do that, let's just quickly touch on, again, just a bit about understanding a sales success mindset. See, one of the things that's really important in getting the most out of whatever system that you deploy is making sure across the board that you're generating the right types of relationships with the right people to ensure your success. And before you get to people, you better make sure, without question, that your mindset is correct, that you have the right focused mindset to achieve success. Now, that can look different depending upon the individual. It doesn't have to be that you have to have one particular mindset. It can work with whatever it is that you work with in your life, but your mindset needs to be dialed into a couple of key elements. The first is you need to have a commitment to learning and developing as you go forward. You need to decide for yourself in the back of your mind, in your mindset, that I'm either going to win or I'm going to learn. Those are the two options. And it's important that you have that type of a mindset in selling. See, you take and face a lot of different obstacles and objections in selling. So if you don't have that type of a mindset where you are committed that you're either going to win or you're going to learn, that you're going to consistently get improvement and develop and personally work on your craft, you're going to struggle. And that really starts and gets its roots in your mindset. You need to be thinking that way going in. You can't ever be the problem that holds yourself back. You need to make sure that you are not shooting yourself in the foot, that you are not the reason why you are not attaining sales success. And a lot of that works around your mindset. A lot of that works around how you look at things, how you face adversity, how you overcome challenges, how you commit to moving to and towards your objectives, and most importantly, how you commit to learning every step of the way. See, no matter who you are, no matter what your background, there isn't a single person out there that knows everything about sales or selling. So we're all students, we're all learning, we're all developing, we're all perfecting our craft as we go along. And the people that attain the highest level of success are the people that embrace that, and they embrace that deep down in their mindset. They understand their mindset needs to be right for them to achieve success. So moving on from mindset, I mentioned obviously your network. Leveraging relationships are a truly key element to your success. And why is that? I mentioned it at the beginning that no matter who you are, no matter what your background is, you will find that you're going to need other people to help with your success. You're going to need other people to help you accomplish what you'd like to accomplish. It's critical in the development of yourself, your business, whatever you're trying to do, that you understand how to master the art of leveraging relationships. Now, why is that? Well, it's because those relationships can create friendly introductions and referrals to potential clients, prospects, individual strategic partnerships or alliances. Those relationships can be critical to your success. It's without question, one of the most powerful things that you can do is to learn to understand how to work with people and develop relationships to the point that they want to see you succeed and they want to align you with other people that need your help. And if you can master that art, you're going to find that your business, your success, your sales results will continue to increase. Now, I'm not saying you can't go out there and achieve a certain level of success doing it all yourself. You absolutely can. But the challenge is that from time to time, when we're not at our best, when we need to tap into the resources of others or connect to others to get the help or support we need, or more importantly, get that little boost by way of other people being fed to us to be able to help and work with, it's challenging when you're doing it all by yourself. Without those other people, you're going to find that it's really hard to grow and scale your sales success. But by mastering the art of those relationships, you're going to find that you're going to generate more friendly introductions, and you're going to really generate just a lot of strong referrals that help you generate new business for yourself. So those two things are important. Those are the first two elements of the key steps that you need for success. But Let's start talking about the critical must-haves. Let's start talking about the things without question that you have to dial in. If you want to triple your sales results in 6 months or less, this is where you need to start taking notes. This is where you need to start jotting down what I'm covering. You need to make sure that you don't miss these next couple of slides. Okay? There are critical must-haves that need to be dialed in for you to triple your sales results in 6 months or less. For you to be able to do that without spending any extra money on marketing or advertising, you need to have these next couple of things just dialed in and down and set up for your success. So let's talk about what those things are. Let's talk about specifically those 3 steps, what those critical things are, so you understand what you need to have working in your favor. At the top of that list, and this is because it's first in order as to how you generate business, you need to create a powerful, irresistible offer. Now, this particular live is not specifically about your irresistible offer. There are a lot of amazing programs that are out there for that, but I'm going to tell you that your offer needs to be irresistible to your targeted prospect. It needs to be powerful. It needs to resonate with them. It needs to be something that when they hear it, they want to move heaven and earth to be able to figure out how to be able to work with you. It has to be something that just rings true in their ears and resonates deep in their gut about something that they have to do for their success. No matter what it is that you offer, no matter what product or service that you're providing, your powerful, irresistible offer is the door opener that gets people to pay attention to you. It needs to be something that gets their attention. Now, we're going to talk just a few minutes about what that offer should include. We're not going to get into all the details, but we are going to tell you what that offer should really include. It should include something that is a real life and true impactful offer to them, something that's going to change what their life or their business or their situation is going to look like. They need to see movement as a result of whatever your offer is. Nobody moves forward with something if it's not going to change their world, if it's not going to improve their situation, if it's not going to make their life, business, or situation better. They just won't. So at the top of the list is your irresistible offer needs to make sure that it impacts them in a positive way. What else should it do? Well, it should absolutely solve, address, or really highlight, either good or bad, something that is meaningful to them, something that really, really is important. Not only does it need to impact them, but it needs to be important. It needs to be something that means something. If it's a small problem, it may not attract enough attention and there may not be enough motivation for them to want to do something about it. So for you to be able to create massive sales success and triple your sales results in 6 months or less, you better have and create a powerful, irresistible offer. Now, the last piece of that offer needs to be something that ties to a call to action, something that drives people to you, something that attracts them to you. And we're not going to get into all the different ways you do that today, but it needs to include something that truly is a call to action that gets them to raise their hand and say, yes, I want, need, or absolutely have to have your help. Okay? So those are the 3 things your offer needs to include. It needs to impact them in a positive way or address a significant issue. It needs to resonate and be an important issue for them. If it's not an important issue, you're going to find that it's hard for them to move or jump on things sometimes. It needs to mean something. It needs to be significant enough for them to change and take action. And then the final piece that it needs to include, without question, is there needs to be a strong call to action, something that forces them to raise their hand and say, I'm ready, I'm willing, and I want to jump in and work with you because I know I need to do this, because what you're telling me is ringing true in my ears. I need to make this happen. So those are the things you need to have in your irresistible offer, your powerful offer. Now, I'm going to tell you, and this is after 34 plus years of sales success, believe it or not, how you start the sales process with your offer sometimes truly dictates how you finish and what your results will be. So you want to pay close attention to that irresistible offer. Be more than happy to talk with you more about that offline sometime. Number 4, and this is one that really dials in to where people usually have a broken process or system. For you to achieve massive sales success, and most importantly, to be able to triple your sales results in 6 months or less without doing any type of additional paid advertising or marketing, you have to build something very, very special. You have to build an organic, consistent, and repeatable prospect or client acquisition system. Now, that acquisition system could be anything. It could be a simple message. It could be a message on social media. I like to use LinkedIn. I think you get a lot of value and results from LinkedIn. But it could be any type of engagement. But the most important thing for you to understand when it comes to your client acquisition system is it needs to be organic, consistent, and repeatable, something that you can just do over and over and over again. For it to be called a system, it needs to be something that isn't a one-time thing or an occasional thing. It needs to happen consistently. It needs to be something that's repeatable, that you can just do over and over and over again. Now, it doesn't only have to be one thing. Your system could include multiple things. It could include, 5 different things, 10 different things on how you acquire prospects or clients. But whatever it is, it needs to be repeatable. And most importantly, as it relates to generating your success and really achieving what you want to accomplish, it needs to include real engagement. Now, here's what I mean by that. In today's world, as you all know, it's noisy, it's crowded. There's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of messages out there. There's a lot of information. It's information overload, right? Now more than ever before, people can get more information than they've ever wanted or needed in their entire lives. But the problem with that information many times is it doesn't engage and resonate with the people that are receiving it. It's kind of like drive-by marketing. They don't necessarily engage people. There's no communication. There's no connection. There's just a lack of engagement, okay? There's a fundamental thing that I believe that many people suffer from in today's sales and marketing arenas, and that's what I call FTE syndrome, failure to engage. People don't engage people. They want to put marketing out there and ads out there, landing pages and all these other things, but then they don't engage people. And studies have shown without question that most sales success comes in the follow-up, in the nurturing, in the engagement with your prospects. Most of the deals that you're ever going to do aren't going to happen off of the very first time that you connect with somebody or the very first time they see a message or an email or a post from you. It's going to happen later on after you've nurtured them, after they've seen your message maybe multiple times. Some studies say it's as many as 8 to 12 times that they have to see your message or connect with you or hear something from you before they are comfortable enough to take action. Now, that's not in every case, but that's an average, right? So what does that tell you? It tells you that engagement is critical. Whatever your system is, you need to build in engagement. Now, I told you today was going to be fast-paced. We were going to cover a lot of stuff. This is the meat of what we're going through. This is where the rubber hits the road, where all of your success is going to be built. If you don't build an organic, consistent, and repeatable client acquisition system using real engagement, you will struggle. You will struggle to generate enough prospects. You will struggle to generate enough activity in your pipeline, and you will most certainly struggle to achieve the sales success that you're looking to achieve. You need to solve this problem. When I am asked by companies to look at what's going on with sales in their business, I get asked as a consultant sometimes to come in and look at these things. I almost immediately and invariably look at their client acquisition system and really dial down. Now, I look at other things, of course. I look at how the mindset of their people are, how they're working with other individuals, their networking, things like that. And I certainly look at their offer, but I really laser focus on their client acquisition system to start. It is so critical to your success that if you fail to master your client acquisition system, you won't ever really achieve the success that you're hoping to achieve. You need to master this. You need to get a hold of it get it down right, and make it generate results. And the word you want to really focus on in all of that is engagement. The more you engage, the more success you will have. Now, the title of this, obviously, this live is tripling your sales results in 6 months or less, all without spending money on advertising or marketing. So one of the easiest ways of doing that, and this is kind of what you need to do, one of these points that you need to do is, you need to leverage social media. If you're not already doing that, you definitely need to do it. I like using LinkedIn for B2B sales. I prefer it. I find it to be the easiest platform to be able to connect and engage with people. You can learn so much about them. You can learn so much about their business. You really get a lot of information that's extremely valuable to you through LinkedIn. So, without spending a crazy amount of money, you can leverage social media with platforms like LinkedIn and others and create true engagement in your client acquisition system. Simple follow-up, simple communication patterns, simple things that resonate with your prospects. But if you're struggling to achieve the success that you'd like to achieve, and let's just say maybe you're looking at your appointment calendar and your calendar looks like a barren wasteland and there's no appointments set up. You have no prospects or very few prospects in your pipeline, or maybe worse yet, you're holding on to prospects who probably really won't close anyway. You probably have a problem with your client acquisition system. You're not acquiring people in a systematic way. You're not feeding your calendar in a systematic way, and you're definitely not fielding your pipeline with opportunities to close in a systematic way. So for you to achieve success, for you to really triple your sales results, you're just not going to do it unless you get an organic, consistent, and repeatable client acquisition system working in your favor. And the way you do that is through engagement. It's a large part of the work that we do at the Sales Activist. It's a large part of the way we coach and consult with people. It's just a fundamental piece that you need for sales success. You absolutely need to have that. So what else do you need to have? Well, this is one that a lot of people get lost on. And this is, if there's a 1-2 punch of sales success or failure, building an organic, consistent, and repeatable client acquisition system is the one punch. What's number 2? Well, that's simple. Number 2 is an easy to follow sales process. Now, sales processes can be a lot of different things. And depending upon who you talk to, you're going to find that sales processes can be very, very simple, or they can be very, very complicated. They can have multiple steps, stages, complexity. It could be very, very challenging sometimes. One of the lessons that I've learned in coaching, training, and mentoring over 3,500 people has been that when you have a complicated sales process, you will not have the sales success or results that you think you're going to have. And the reason is there are just too many ways that the process can get knocked off track. When it's complicated, it's much easier to mess about with the process and screw things up. The prospect may screw it up. The salesperson may screw it up. You may think you're on track, but you get confused yourself in the order, the complexity, just the comprehensive sales process that overwhelms people. When I look at what's broken in sales organizations, when I analyze what's broken, it's usually those two things, that 1-2 punch. The client acquisition system is broken and their sales process is broken, or it's too complicated. Now, let's talk about the difference between those two things. There are a lot of different sales processes out there. You could grab any book out there and you could find a different version, definition, or order for their sales process. I believe that one of the keys to sales success is you have to strip away the complexity. And I'm talking to all the engineered minds that are out there, the people that think there has to be 300 steps in anything that you do. Strip away the complexity and keep it easy for you to follow. Why is this so important for you when you're selling? Well, it's simple. A lot of things can change your sales process. Timing, circumstances. You may be in the middle of a great meeting or interaction or call, and all of a sudden, the prospect has to reschedule or change it, and your order and your sales process is a little bit messed up. Now you're going back to a different thing. First step in your sales process is you need to work on deploying what I define as an easy to follow sales process, something that's bulletproof, easy to follow, that anybody can remember, that anybody can plug into, and most importantly, that any person in the sales process can get back on track when things go south. Because ultimately, it's going to happen. It's probably going to happen a lot where you have multiple call deals or multiple appointments that are required to close a deal. It's not all going to happen in a nice, neat, tightly compacted process, right? So you better have an easy process to follow. Now, why is that so important? Well, it's critical for your success because of this simple fact. There are certain triggers, certain things that create the sale in that process. And the more complicated that your process is, the more likely that you're going to miss those triggers or miss your opportunity to generate the greatest result for yourself. And I found that one of the easiest ways to get ahead of those things, one of the easiest ways to prevent that from happening and keep your sales momentum going forward and grow your sales results, is to create an easy to follow sales process. Now, I created what I call the VOW method. Now, a lot of different processes out there. Somebody may follow this in a way that I do. They may call it something different. I like to call it the VOW method. I call it the VOW method. You all remember your vowels back in school, right? A-E-I-O-U. Easy to remember. Critically easy to remember. It's simple when it comes to the process and the steps you need to follow. So A stands for attract. Your sales process needs to attract them to you. Now, I'm not talking about the marketing that attracts them to you. There needs to be an appeal to you. There needs to be something that draws them to you, not just a standard call to action, but it's something in the way you communicate. It's something in the way that what you say resonates with them. It's something that pulls them in. It's an attraction method. It's something that pulls them in to want to listen to you, to want to give you the opportunity to impact them, their life, their success, their business, something that draws them in. Okay, like the attraction factor. It needs to pull them into you. So A stands for attract. That's the first stage in the process. You're working to attract them to you, to want to look at you as somebody that they should be listening to position yourself as a trusted advisor, as somebody that can be of great resource and help and value to them. That starts with attraction. You draw them in. The second, and this is absolutely just as important. We talked about how important it was in the client acquisition system just a few minutes ago. We talk about engage. You need to engage people the right way. You need to engage them the right way, communicate with them the right way, say the right things, position the right things, position yourself through the engagement that you do with them. Now, for a lot of people, this is where they start to struggle. This is where they really start to have challenges in the sales process. They're maybe great at describing their product, their service, their offer, but they struggle with the engagement and drawing people in. Okay? See, the fact is, you need to know and master how to engage people. If you don't engage them the right way, your odds for success are much less. If you learn how to engage people in the right way, in your communication, in the patterns by which you communicate, you're going to find that it makes your sales process a lot easier. Okay? Finally, we get to I. I is the impact phase. This is where you really impact them. Now, I want you to pay close attention because this is something that trips a lot of people up. They do it sometimes backwards because they think that their offer is the most important piece. They think that what they do, what they offer, what they provide, this service is the most critical piece. And I don't want to shatter anybody's illusions. I don't want to burst anybody's bubbles, but people sincerely don't care. They don't care about your product. They don't care about your offer. They don't care about what it is that you do and bring to the world. What they care about is how what you do or bring to the world, what your offer will do for them. And it's an important difference. People are not interested in what you do or who you are or the product you offer, but they are completely interested in what those things do for them. So the mistake that a lot of people make in selling is they push that O farther up the ladder, farther up the sales process. They product dump or pitch or throw their product at somebody earlier in the process. The process I deploy, the process that I teach people, the process that I've taught over 3,500 other people to do is to follow this VOW method in a way that puts your offer farther down the list. Now, why is that so critical? Because if you don't get them engaged and you don't create impact before you get to the offer, you don't have anywhere near as much to work with. You don't know as much about your prospect. You don't know what really makes them tick. You don't know what's important and impactful to them. You really haven't created an emotional connection with them. And sales is all about emotion. Sales is all about figuring out how to create a connection and create an emotional response so they'll decide to move forward and take action on the solution that you are showing them, something that's going to add a lot of value and impact them in a positive way. So the I for impact, the impact is capitalized in the sales process because that is the most important step in the entire sales process. You need to impact people. You need to ask the right questions, impact-focused questions that are going to resonate with your prospect, that are going to make them sit up, pay attention, and know that you are the person to help them get what they are looking for. If you don't do that, if you do that later or try to do it later, when you haven't developed a relationship, when you threw an offer at them, your likelihood for success is much, much lower. Now, the other reason why I've capitalized impact in the sales process is I mentioned a couple of minutes ago about the likelihood of things getting knocked off track, the schedule being changed, having to reschedule, go to a second meeting or a third meeting, just anything changing in your sales process. Well, whenever that happens, I'm going to tell you where you need to go. I'm going to give you the roadmap and I'm going to give it to you today, right now. If you are struggling and you have these multiple step sales processes and you don't understand how when you first talk to them, they seem so excited. And when you're talking to them the second time, the excitement isn't there. It's because you probably did this. You probably started the second meeting or appointment or second interaction somewhere other than in the impact phase. And that's one of the biggest mistakes that sales professionals make. They go back to the offer or they go back to engaging them. They don't start in the impact phase. Now, if you weren't quite there yet, of course you go to where you left off, whether you were just in the attract stage or you were engaging them. But if you are already past that, let's say you've already talked about your product and you made an offer to them, and you try to just go right back to where you were, your likelihood for success has dropped off the map. It just has. It's gotten much, much lower because you have to go back to the impact phase. People make their buying decisions in the impact phase. It's important that you recognize that in the sales process as well, the impact phase should make up the majority of your contact time, as well as that's where your prospect should be doing the majority of the talking. You know, whether you knew this or not, for you to be successful in selling, you got to get people talking. You have to get them telling you what things mean, how important it is to them, what they're looking for. They need to verbalize it. For them to move forward with whatever it is that you're offering, you need to get them impacted. You need to really get them talking. And that percentage probably is about 75% of them talking versus you talking. Now, I know when people struggle in selling, and this happens a lot too, and I know when I look at and evaluate their sales process, many times it's because they spend 75% themselves talking about how great they are, how great their company is, how great their product is, all the bells and whistles of what it does. I just told you a couple of minutes ago, nobody cares. Nobody cares about that. Now, they may care about the individual features or benefits that your product, service, or offering provides, but only in the context of what it does for them. Now, how people stand out, how people become trusted advisors, how people separate themselves from the pack of other people that are out there competing with them, doing the same things that they do, lies in that impact stage. It lies in the fact that Those successful people have created the habit of exploring impact at a higher level, asking better questions and letting and getting the prospect to talk, exploring impact in a way that other people don't typically explore. See, whether you knew this or not, there's a line in the sales process. I call it the impact line. And that's where average salespeople kind of stop. They talk about the features, the benefits. Here's what it does. It solves the problem. There's a value. And they try to wrap up a deal there at that impact line. That's where the majority of people tend to stop when it comes to selling. I believe that the elite, certainly have proven that they spend more time on the other side of the impact line, talking more with their prospects, getting to understand more of what the impact will be for their prospects and clients. And the power behind that is just magnificent. What it does is it gets your prospect talking. It gets them realizing that you are different than other people when it comes to what it is that you do. You separate yourself. So the I in impact makes up the biggest part of an easy to follow sales process. Now, O, of course, O is your offer, how you offer your product, your service, your offering to them, the way it's positioned. Now, again, following the AEIOU method, it's after impact. You shouldn't be talking about what you do until you really have a good understanding of how it impacts your prospect. You shouldn't have to pitch your product or talk about your product and then later on ask your prospect those things. You should know going in. Now, why is that so powerful? Why is the O after the I? And it's not just because the vowels lined up that way. It's simply because you have more to work with when you do it in that order. If you hold your offer, the time that you show exactly what it is that you can do and the power behind it, if you hold that until after you've explored the impact with them a little bit, after you've talked about things and what things mean to them and what it may look like for them themselves, their business, their finances, their family, their employees, whatever it is that you're impacting. If you hold the offer until after you've gotten a lot of that covered by them, after they've shared those things, after they've really, really shared with you the meaning behind those things, it is so much easier to match the solution and talk about how important it is for them in your offer. It just makes the process so much more manageable. Many times when you handle it that way, what'll happen is your prospects will simply decide that they want to move forward. They've connected the dots themselves. They've seen what you've said. They understand the impact because you were getting them to talk about it. You show them the offer, and they usually will follow up with something like, how can we get started? What are the next steps? What are the terms and conditions? All the buying signs that you would ever look for. So if you want to triple your sales results in 6 months or less, get an easy to follow sales process, make it look something like this AEIOU method, and make sure that you cover your offer, truly cover your offer after the impact phase. Now, that in and of itself is an art, figuring out how to do that. And that's a large part of the work that we do at the Sales Activist. But there's one more important piece to the sales process and one more really critical piece to making this really work for you in an easy to follow way. And that's what we call understanding. A lot of people fail in sales because they leave things hanging. They leave prospects hanging. They leave the status of things hanging. They leave follow-ups hanging. But most importantly, they don't create the right expectations as to what the next steps will look like or what they will be. And it's a fundamental lack of understanding. And I call the understanding phase of the sales process because that's where you're going to come to an understanding, an agreement on things. Now, in a perfect world, that agreement would be that they're going to work with you and they're going to sign up and be a client, and that sale is going to happen for you. That's one result. But there are others. Maybe the understanding is we need to schedule another appointment. Maybe the understanding is we're not ready today, but we will be ready in 3 months or in 6 months or in a year. Maybe the understanding is we're not going to move forward. We like what you're showing us, but it's not a fit. We don't know what it'll be, but what you need to do in every sales process. Not only does it need to be easy to follow, but you need to make sure at the end of that process, no matter what the result is, that there's an agreement or an understanding of what the next step will be, what the next step will look like. And that easy to follow sales process, the VOW method, AEIOU, makes it really simple for people to stay on track with their sales process. It makes it really simple for them to know what to highlight, what to focus on, what to do first, how to wrap things up, how to leave things. It's really a nice, concise, easy to follow sales process. So you want to master sales and triple your sales results in 6 months or less, get that offer dialed in. Make sure you have a consistent and easy to repeat sales or client acquisition system, and make sure you have an easy to follow sales process. Now, next, and this is something that I believe is probably the most important stuff that we're going to cover in this live today. And whether you're catching it live or whether you catch the recording, pay attention to what I'm going to say next. This truly makes a difference for people. Whatever you do in selling, if you really want to triple your sales results, make a commitment today and going forward, make a commitment today to stop settling for delivering value. Stop settling for delivering value. Now, I say that because, in my opinion, value has become commoditized. Value is the very lowest expectation that any prospect or client would be expecting from you. They can get value a lot of different ways. Look, 30 years ago, before the internet, before information was so readily available, value was much harder to attain because the salesperson had to educate and train and develop a lot of different things in people to uncover value, and then their product or service would do it and bring it together. The education combined with the product created value, and that person would make a decision based on that. But now, in today's world, somebody can find 2,000 options of what it is that you do right from their smartphone. Value has become commoditized. The average person settles at value. And my hope for all of you is that you don't settle for average. Don't settle for just delivering value. What you want to focus on, what you want to drill into and dial down into is impact. Focus on impact. If you're saving a company money, don't just highlight the conversation about we're saving you $100,000 or $200,000 or whatever you're saving that business. Don't talk about just the value. Talk about the impact. Value has become less emotional for people. Impact remains emotional. Impact is something that resonates deep down with them. How do you change from value to impact? In that same example, if you're saving somebody money, if you're saving them whatever, $250,000, whatever it is in their business, don't just talk about the money saved. Get them talking about what they do with the money. Well, if you had $250,000 in your hands right now, if I slid a check across the table to you, what would you spend the money on in your business? What would you do with the money? What impact would that money have? Would you hire employees? Would you expand your marketing? Would you add new product lines? Would you generate even more revenue with that $250,000? Focus on exploring impact. The elite sales professional out there, the person that goes out there and crushes their sales goals, and you've seen them. If you're not one of them already, you know people like that. And you probably wonder, how do they do what they do? How do they accomplish those things? How do they make it seem so easy? Well, I'm going to tell you one of the answers is this. They focus more on impact. The conversations that those people have with prospects sound a lot different than the conversations that the average person has with a prospect. So if you want to triple your sales results, focus on exploring impact, getting to know what your prospects are going to do with what you save them, or what impact your product, solution, or offering is really going to have. And don't stop with the obvious. Don't settle for value. Take it as far as your prospect is willing to take you. Mastering the right impact questions is truly an art form. It's a large part of the basis of what we do with impact selling at The Sales Activist, but it can change your sales results dramatically. and it can change them overnight. But you have to make a commitment. And I'm asking you all, make that commitment today for yourself. Don't settle for just delivering value. I will tell you, if you settle for just delivering value, at some point, somebody who comes in and has mastered delivering impact for people is going to take that business away from you. They're going to win that business from you. And the reason why that's so important to understand is that as time goes on, as information becomes even more and more and more available, value is becoming less and less critical to the sales process. In fact, I had a great conversation with a podcast guest just this week, and we were talking about the idea of how educated the average consumer is today. And she shared something with me that I thought was amazing, and it's so true, that studies have shown that 67% of what the prospect usually knows about whatever decision that they're making is already in their hands before the salesperson engages them. 67% of the knowledge that they need to make a buying decision is already there. Value is already there. If you come in and just be average, like what everybody else does, you will not separate yourself from other people. You will struggle to achieve true sales momentum because there's a lot of people out there delivering value. And the consumers themselves, your clients, your prospects, they're better educated than ever before. So you need to focus, truly focus and commit to exploring impact. Going as far and as deep as your prospects will allow you to go with that. Asking them how it impacts them personally, how it impacts their business, what it looks like inside their business. How would all of that make them feel? How would it impact their family? Would they be getting time back? Would they be getting more value, more money back for themselves? Would it change their financial stability, their peace of mind, their comfort, their life, their emotional being? Dig deep and explore impact. Now, not every product, service, or offering has the ability of doing all of those things, but I'll tell you, no matter what it is that you offer, you can explore impact. You can explore impact and you can separate yourself from your competition. If you want to prevent your competitors from winning business that you're trying to win, focus on exploring impact. If you want to protect your current business with your existing clients from somebody else coming in and perhaps delivering something to them that they're interested in, well, then you better be focusing on exploring impact with your clients. If you want to go and win back business that you maybe lost previously, focus on exploring impact. Go back to them and explore impact with them. Approach them in a way maybe different than what you did before. Approach them in a way that maybe was different than what your current competitors are doing. Focus on exploring impact. It will change everything as it relates to your sales momentum and your sales success. Those things are critical for you to be successful. You not only have to have that offer dialed in, you need to have that easy and repeatable client acquisition system. You need to have an easy to follow sales process. And most importantly, you have to be dialed in and exploring impact. If you're struggling to explore impact, or if you're struggling with any one of the elements that I talked about today during this live, we can help you and we'd be happy to help you with improving in those areas. You can get help with sales problems just by texting the word sales to the number 409-509-7355. That's texting sales to 409-509-7355. You can connect with our assistant. You will be able to schedule a free strategy session, and we can talk about what's going on with sales in your business and help you address all the things that you have going on inside sales within your business. I'm willing to guess, without question, that some of those things probably are connected to what we talked about throughout this live. Probably talking about things that ultimately are impacting your success. So I'm going to stop sharing now. And I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to be with us here today for this live. This is Joe Beck with the Sales Activist. I promise you, if you want to triple your sales results in 6 months or less, you need to focus on those critical things. Of course, you need to have your mindset mastered. Of course, you need to be truly leveraging and understanding how to manage relationships in your network. But then when we start dialing in, you need to have a powerful, irresistible offer. You need to have a truly easy to follow client acquisition system. And I'm talking to you if you're looking at your calendar right now and there's not a lot of appointments in your sales calendar, you have a broken client acquisition system and you need help, no doubt. In addition to your client acquisition system, even if you have those prospects and clients in your calendar, you better have the right dialed in sales process. You better make sure that your sales process is easy to follow, dialed in, and can help you get the sales results that you're looking to achieve. And finally, more than ever before, value has become commoditized. Make sure that you focus on impact. This is Joe Beck with the Sales Activist. If we can help you in any way, just text the word sales to the number 409-509-7355. It's been my pleasure being with you here today. Look forward to speaking to you later on at other Impact Sales Lives. Have a great day.